and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Michelle Boardman, the Director of Social Marketing for the TA Network, and I'm delighted to welcome you to a wonderful, content-rich presentation entitled Amplify Your Family Organization's Voice, Social Marketing for Family-Run Organizations. Geared to family-run organizations, today's webinar will provide an overview of how social marketing can help you achieve your goals. You'll leave today's webinar with a number of practical strategies and next steps for your social marketing. Today's presentation is part of an ongoing series of social marketing webinars hosted by the TA Network and funded by SAMHSA. I'm delighted to introduce today's speakers, Cameron McDonald and Erin Check, both of whom have a wealth of experience in communications and marketing. They are serving as social marketing consultants for FREDLA, and we'll take it from here. Cameron and Erin, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Let's get right down to it. As many of you know, typically family-run organizations operate with limited funds and small staff that have multiple roles within the organization. Time and expertise often prevent family-run organizations from using social marketing strategies to reach out to families, potential funders, and policymakers. Taking the time to develop a social marketing plan can help your organization reach your target audiences and amplify your voice. It doesn't necessarily require lots of money or a lot of time. It just takes some thought and planning. Your board, staff, and families you serve can play an important role in developing this plan. Let's begin by understanding what social marketing is all about. Most companies try to influence people to buy products that they are selling. Family-run organizations, on the other hand, are trying to influence people to become aware or take action. The product is human behavior, and it can be a very powerful tool for positive change. The action will vary for each of you. Some will hope for an increased number of families coming into your organization. Others may wish for increased funding for the organizations, or perhaps signups for a workshop that they're hosting. All of the marketing strategies you are rolling out in your marketing roadmap will be designed to influence behaviors to create positive change. Remember that change takes time. So you will always need to keep up social marketing and adapt your plan to changes in your state, your community, or within your organization. Here are a few examples of differences between advertising and social marketing, and how social marketing has changed behavior and in some instances changed laws. Social marketing campaigns have successfully reduced smoking and the incidence of lung cancer, decreased the amount of sugary drinks and promoted more people drinking water, decreased the use of plastic bags to prevent pollution, raised awareness of texting while driving to prevent accidents, and increased the use of sunscreen to prevent skin cancer. These are just some of the examples of how using social marketing can promote positive change. Your organization changes lives of children and families and has an impact on your community as well. There may be targeted groups of people you still want to reach out to. Perhaps there is a policy that you want to draw attention to and you need to reach out to local policymakers. Perhaps there are families who aren't aware of your services and you need to get on their radar screen. Or perhaps you would like the local school to give out materials your organization has developed for families. Each of these targeted groups, families, funders, policymakers, and MCOs can all be reached if you have the right strategy in place. Creating a social marketing plan is your guide to reaching your different audiences. Let's begin by defining the process and sharing the big picture snapshot of what social marketing cycle looks like in practice. It might be helpful to see how this marketing plan utilizing social marketing strategies works by stepping back a bit. The social marketing cycle is a great tool for viewing this as a circle, which shows the final stage, evaluation and mid-course corrections, feeding directly back into the first planning stage, the goal. It is a continuous, ongoing process. This cycle is social marketing in a snapshot. You can see here how each stage feeds the following stage. Just like all of the people involved in your system of care, each piece of this circle is essential for the overall success of the plan. I'll now give you a real-life scenario on how you might use the social marketing cycle. Let's say your goal is to educate local law enforcement on how to appropriately respond to a child in crisis. Then perhaps your audience is all of the police stations within a 30-mile radius. Your message is how you create the motivation for compliance, using phrases such as, "We are here to help. Let us share how." There are several channels that you may deliver your message through, such as personal invitations, posts on their social media pages, personal phone calls, or even a personal email. Furthermore, you may host a free event to conduct training, providing them with materials you've created on how to deal with children in crisis. Then you may track how many calls are received from local law enforcement referring to children in crisis to see if they are reaching out more now than they may have in the past, Then you evaluate every step in the marketing cycle to outline what worked and what didn't work. For instance, did you reach out to the correct contact at the police station? Was your message direct enough to get people to participate? Were the channels that you selected effective in reaching the audience you were trying to reach? It is important to take time to evaluate what worked and what didn't, so you make the right adjustments the next time around. At this point, my associate Erin is going to take it from here, and we'll walk you through each step of the social marketing cycle. Erin?
Thank you so much, Cameron. So to get started for today's exercise, we're going to create a sample goal to demonstrate how this looks. Our sample goal is to create awareness of the services that you provide in your community. We encourage you to start off by selecting just one goal for this exercise. Keep it simple. Know that whether your number one priority is to get more mental health services provided to more families or to recruit volunteers to work at a fundraising event, big picture motivation is really the same no matter how you slice and dice it. You are asking people to take action. Some other examples of goals that you could set would be to educate or raise awareness of your organization within a community, which is our example, to change the conversation about mental health in general, to recruit volunteers, to register participants for a program or event, to solicit donations to support your work, or to get the public to support legislation for your cause. Please note that the more defined and the more purposeful your marketing strategies will be. Step 2 in the social marketing cycle is identifying your target audience. Who are you trying to reach? From here, you have to build out the profile of your target audience. The most important place to really begin is identifying who matches up with your goals. Who do you need to reach out to in order to help you match up with those goals? Depending on the goal that you've set, your target audience may vary greatly. One tip that we can offer to you is that the more information you have about a person, the more you can use towards building a profile in your database. So here are a couple of examples of what to include in a target audience profile. Basic demographic information here would be location, cultural identity, language, role of the individual or organization to make changes, capacity of the individual or agency to support your organization. And you can see here with our bullet points, families, public and private child-serving agencies, public and private mental health agencies, individuals and policymakers, all the information that you can capture on all of these individual groups can help you develop your audience and build your audience profile. Here are some questions to keep in mind as you're capturing information about your target audience. What is the desired action of this group of people? What's important to them? What needs, challenges, frustrations, and barriers do they have? How does your organization, service, or product help your target audience? What drives them to make a decision? And what media do they currently use and trust? Once you've identified your target audience for your marketing goal, you then want to think about, what do you want to say to them? How do you want to reach out to them with your words, motivating them to take action? Step 3 in the social marketing cycle is developing your message for your target audience. What will you say to them once you reach them? Creating the right message is really critical to the success of social marketing. You really should have this part figured out before you reach out to them. Your messaging will be greatly decided by who you've just determined is your target audience. You may change your language, your tone, or your style of reaching out to them depending on who you're speaking with. Language not only refers to the actual words, but also to the culture, age of the group, and your organization's social marketing goal. For a sample given today, which is creating awareness of your services, your message will change slightly based on the 3 audiences you have chosen to reach out to: families, policymakers, and child servicing agencies. Let's take a look at our example. So you're messaging to families. Here are just some examples for you. We've been there. We are here to help. We can connect you to the right people. You are not alone. We can help connect you. but your messaging to policymakers is going to be quite different. Family-run organizations help children and families get the services they need. They are cost-effective, they help public agencies to do their jobs, and they help kids in school and out of trouble. If you're reaching out to public and private child-serving agencies, your message is going to vary again. We understand your families because we have been there too. We are here to help. We have resources that make your life easier. Utilize us and partner with us. You can see how your messaging will vary based on who you're trying to reach. We have a couple tips here to provide to you. Setting the tones for success. So focus your message on the positive by telling your audience what to do instead of what not to do. Speak your audience's language. Make sure you're communicating to them in their native language. Stories convey powerful message. Utilize storytelling and personal testimonials to create compelling connections. And keep it short and to the point for greater impact. Keep in mind that you only have a few seconds to convey your message and motivating your audience before they move on. So you really have to capture their attention quickly. Here is one exercise that you might find beneficial that Cameron and I have both found beneficial as we're approaching our copywriting process. Practice writing a call to action or request in longhand. Then underneath it, rewrite it several times again, using only the most critical words for getting your message across. Play around with the different word choices and calls to action, and have fun. Now that you've set your goal, identified your audience, and crafted your messaging, you are now ready to begin reaching out to your target audience. This is the fun part. Step 4 in the social marketing cycle is deciding which marketing channels will be used to reach your audience with your message. A marketing channel. What is a marketing channel? The people, the places, and the methods that will reach and deliver your audience to your target message to your target audience. It's the way in which you reach your target audience, such as Facebook, email, flyers, phone calls, newspapers, and more. The key to social marketing success here is repetition, layering, and follow through. Those are the 3 keys to success. People are bombarded with incoming messages all day long. So sometimes you'll reach them, but not necessarily motivate them on the first round. The more strategic channels you are utilizing in your marketing plan to get your message out, the better. Your target audience may see your message through an e-newsletter mention, they may hear something on the radio, and they may read about it in the local paper, but they may not only act until being reminded about it again when an ad pops up on Facebook, or they're handed a flyer at their local library. And here's a tip for you. Just because something hasn't worked in the past doesn't mean it won't again. Don't be afraid to try a new marketing technique, but also be willing to revisit old ideas as your target audience changes over the years. Think about keeping a log of ideas that you've had over the years so that you can revisit them down the road. As we all know, marketing channels are everywhere. They come directly into your home through mailings, through the newspaper, through magazines, through television, or phone calls. They're delivered on your doorstep through postcards or circulars. They can be sought out, accessed through phones or computers, like an email newsletter or a text message. Or they can be discovered through the bulletin board at your local library or coffee shop, like a flyer. Opportunities for you to reach your target audience are literally everywhere. Be creative. Remember our tip though, layer. So steer clear of just opting for one channel or the other, such as like digital or outdoor. Try layering one of each for impact because people get their information all sorts of different ways. And sometimes, like we said before, it takes a couple different channels to actually motivate somebody to act, which is what you want them to do. With so many options for social media promotions, don't get lost trying to jump on the next social media site. That's another tip that we have for you, or have a presence on every single site. Sometimes it's really best to be very strong through one or two social media sites and do it really well and have a very strong presence on those sites than trying to be everything to everybody and be on every single site and not doing it well, not having a solid presence. Also study your target audience profile to see which social media sites match up to your demographic the best. That's very important. So now that your messaging is good to go, how do you ensure that it's going to reach your target audience? You really need to be wherever they are. If their target audience profile says that they're in a demographic who has children in elementary school, have a presence there. If they have a Facebook page, target them through advertising or message them. With social media on the marketing landscape, there's more options now than ever for reaching your target audience. And remember, give yourself some time to build visibility and awareness with your message. Here's just some examples of how the channels that you can utilize to reach your target audience. Let's quickly recap. Your organization has set a goal. You've identified your target audience. You've outlined the messages that you will feel will motivate them to take action. And you've selected the channels that you will utilize to connect your messages with your target audience, the physical delivery of your message. This brings us to step 5, which is how, within those channels, your message will be delivered. Facebook is one example of a channel. Suggested posts, ads, events, marketplace, closed groups, etc., are all examples of delivery mechanisms flowing within that one channel of Facebook. They are all capable of delivering your message to your target audience. So the events that you host and the materials that you create and distribute and the advertising placements that you book are the means to delivering your message. One thing that you really should keep in mind here is how you deliver your message will really vary depending on who your audience is. For instance, using our example of the goal, which is the creating awareness of your services. If your target audience are families, how you will deliver your message will differ from how you deliver a message to policymakers. Perhaps you will host a picnic to invite families and inform them about your services and programs, whereas you might have a formal meeting with policymakers to present data on your services. Some other factors that you really want to consider are, number 1, relevance to desired outcomes. An example of this would be, do you want to build attendance to an event, or do you just want to inform people of your services? Number 2 would be timing. Using the same example, is there an event next month that you need to have guests RSVP for, or is there funding that you want to have passed at the end of the calendar year? Number 3, costs and resources. If you have a $0 budget but a strong following, you may opt for all social media posts and work on recruiting your most influential ambassadors to spread the word for your event. If you have a $200 budget that you can spend on marketing, you may opt to take out a $10 a day Facebook ad targeting residents within a 10-mile radius with children and interests that match up to your services. Number 4 is climate of community towards the issue or activity. If there's another group or organization in town that is hosting a similar event or approach legislators right before you, your target audience may be tapped out as they just received an ask. This also ties into timing. You may want to take into consideration your messaging exhaustion and time your asks appropriately in your community. Number 5 is cultural appropriateness, including language. If you reside in a community where, say, another language is prevalent among residents, you may consider creating materials or posts in that second language. So you will be reaching them through your marketing channel, but speaking to them through means that resonate. And lastly, environment, geographic considerations. Let's say that you're in a rural area and you're hosting a special event, but the majority of your target audience does not have internet or access to computer. The how you reach them would not be through an email newsletter or Facebook post, rather a printed postcard invitation or personal phone call through a phone chain. Some successful marketing campaigns have used symbols, slogans, events, or hashtags to catch people's attention. These can be used alongside your messaging to help reinforce it and make your campaign memorable. You deliver these to your target audience along with your message and what you're asking your target audience to do, what action you want them to take, whether that's RSVPing to an event or passing legislation. So here are some examples that we've given you of samples versus slogans versus hashtags that would all accompany your messaging and your graphic lockup when you're communicating your message to your target audience. So two examples of symbols would be awareness ribbons or the autism puzzle. Some examples of slogans would be buckle up for safety, reduce, refuse, reuse, and recycle plastic bags. And one text or call could wreck it all. And some very popular hashtags that people have used in campaigns would be the Me Too, Ice Bucket Challenge, and Share Your Ears. This is just a visual map for you to kind of just see all the steps that we've been talking about so far. For those of you who are more visual, it helps you visualize the details contained within each step of the social marketing cycle. And we're going to provide you with a worksheet like this that's blank for you to be able to plug in with your own goals, target audience profile, messaging channels, delivery, etc. at the end of this webinar. One thing that I do want to note is having a strong presence on social media pages is really key, but please don't underestimate the power of tried and true marketing techniques. And I'm sure some of you can attest to this. Face-to-face interactions and grassroots material distribution will really make your interaction meaningful and memorable. And word-of-mouth marketing still leads the pack. Tap into the power of local influencers who can get behind your goal and give it an extra boost to their networks and channels. Building relationships is key. Some of these traditional methods are tried and true because they truly work. Here's a quick sample of some of the more traditional ways that you can reach your audience through the hosting of an event, presence at a community event, participation in local promotional activities, or through the creation of marketing collateral to be distributed, posted, or mailed. So you can read here the examples of events or materials that you can tap into that are more traditional based. Now is the exciting part, the implementation of your marketing plan. Step 6 in the social marketing cycle is pre-testing and implementation of your plan. Before you implement, be sure that you pre-test your strategies, which simply means this: get organized. There are so many tools for organizing yourself around time, dollars, and staff to implement the marketing initiative. You can plot your dates on calendar pages if you'd like, or you can organize them in a timeline showing the date the work begins and ends, or the task and subtask within that. Here's a checklist that you can plug into your own planning document or use the one that we'll be providing at the end of the webinar. It is a great planning tool for you to input each of the steps involved that we have discussed today. This can be your consolidated marketing plan, as it'll document all of the efforts that you have thoughtfully put into your campaign. But it'll also act as a place to analyze the results of your efforts as well. Once your marketing strategies are out in the world and enough time has passed, you will be able to tell if they have reached your target audience, because you will see, A, with our example, people are RSVPing to your event, or B, legislators have scheduled a meeting. So if you can see that your event RSVPs are slow to come in, or you haven't heard back from legislators with a meeting date, this is a sign that you may need to change up your tactics. Begin reevaluating the steps. Was your goal realistic? Was your audience the correct audience? Maybe you need to reach out to a different audience than the one you thought you needed to reach. Or perhaps you needed to switch up your messaging or opt for different channels altogether. Although this step, step 7, appears to be the last step of the social marketing cycle, it actually isn't. The adjustments that you make here will directly feed back into the goal that you originally set, and it will inform how you proceed from this point forward. Now, here's a checklist of questions you can ask yourself to make sure if your social marketing plan was a success. It is critically important to consider an out-processing meeting or gathering involving all the internal stakeholders to evaluate all the steps in your planning process and the marketing cycle. Make sure that you're able to document what worked and what didn't, whether or not you reached your target audience, and identify any changes or challenges that could improve the plan for the next time around. Here is a checklist of what you should consider during this out-processing meeting. So identify metrics for each activity that will show you're making progress towards your goal. Through social media, there's many opportunities to look at metrics through click-throughs, through open rates, that will allow you to identify how many people have seen or responded to your message. Specify times to take stock of progress in completing communications plan. Determine your plan's strengths or weaknesses and identify obstacles that you saw along the way. Then use your data and experience that you've obtained and create and implement new approaches for success the next time around. Social marketing is never over. So use the information and experiences that you've gained from your initial time around the cycle to adjust your future social marketing plan based on what worked or what didn't work for your organization. So we're back to the goal, and this is where you can start back over again. As family-run organizations, our passion really is the children and the families that we serve. Social marketing may seem like extra work, but instead of thinking of social marketing as an extension of your work, social marketing is a powerful way to bring our message of children's mental health to families, agencies, policymakers, and funders. The work that family-run organizations do every day is an important message that deserves to be heard. We wish all of you success in your work and future social marketing endeavors. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We have provided at the end of the slide some resources for you that are available on the University of Maryland School of Social Work for Innovation and Implementation website. We encourage you to visit the website and utilize these wonderful marketing tools. Our thanks also to SAMHSA and to the Institute for Innovation and Implementation at the University of Maryland School of Social Work for their assistance in producing this webinar. Thank you all.